Okay, we'll just give everyone a second to show up. We should be live now. There is something I want to go through very shortly in terms of just important stuff about the kind of A level. I think there's one person in here so far. Okay, sorry for it starting a little bit late. I had to use the bathroom first. And I come straight from another lesson, so that's fun. Okay. So, just in terms of the announcements, really quickly before we get into the submitted questions. When I say announcements, this is more for just A levels in general. So, in terms of how long you've got left, exams are approaching. So you have a few months until, and bear in mind that we have the Easter holidays, which is 2 weeks. We have the May half term, which is another week. We have the February half term, which is another week. So you lost a month already due to half terms. We've got bank holidays coming up, stuff like that. So some of you, hey Ice Cream, how are you? Some of you are going to miss out on some lessons with bank holidays and things like that as well. Now, why am I telling you all this? Well, it is unlikely schools will finish the content like reasonably soon, and I'm very well, thank you. So the problem is, and the main thing that kind of schools miss out on is the stats and mechanics. So chances are your school will finish it, but how soon to the exam or how close to the exam will they finish it? Will they finish it the week before? That's happened. I've heard from some of you and some of the people I tutor in different schools around the country, tutor them physics and maths, that their schools haven't even started stats and mechanics yet. Stats and mechanics makes up about half of your year 12 grade. And the actual textbook is maybe 2/3 of the pure textbook. So what does this mean? Some of you have barely finished half of the pure content. You've got another a huge chunk of content to then cover. So why am I telling you this? The reason why I'm telling you this is that it's really important to be aware that schools may fail you in this sense, or the fact that schools don't have enough time to finish all of the A-level content. It's just the way it is. It happens most years, and it happens in a lot of schools. They don't have enough time to finish the content. They miss lessons due to literally anything under the sun that can happen, and due to half terms and stuff like that. So I would recommend anyone that hasn't started stats and mechanics, I would recommend starting it yourself. Okay? It's not that bad to self-study, at least some of the chapters. And if you need any help, of course, you can use the Discord and things like that. Just so you guys are aware, I have the study planner that I made for A-level. It's a video, so if you go on the channel, you just search, A-level study planner, you'll find it. It will help you plan out your time, so that way you know that you'll finish before the exams. The exams will be in June time. And we're basically in February now, so we've got February, March, April, May, June. 5 months, but we lose a month due to half terms. 4 months of lessons. So about 16 weeks. So 16 times however many lessons you have per week. Some people do it as like 2 batches. Again, bearing in mind that we're going to have what they call bank holidays and things like that. Just be aware. Again, I'm not trying to scare you, although I am. I'm trying to just make you aware that your time is... Again, don't rely on the school to finish everything in time. Even if they do finish it all, they might finish it a week or 2 before the exam. Is that enough time to study? Not really. Anyways, that's a lot of doom and gloom. Just so you guys are aware, I'm accepting questions from the Discord. If you join the Discord, you go to stream questions. If not, you can email me as well, although Discord is preferred. And I'm going to start going through some questions. The first question is one that I've actually come across, not the exact same question, but it is a question that I have come across quite a bit, which is these kind of calculus questions. These come up all the time, and so basically you're going to get differentiation every single year regardless. There's I would say 60 to 70% of the time it's like this, 30 to 40% of the time it's a different style of question. Now, the really important thing here is that it's the same kind of style every single time it comes up. Now, what do we do? Also, just as one other thing, I have got videos on the channel which go through questions similar to this and even harder versions of it. Anyways, that's enough of me plugging that. We have here a storage tank, which is a cylinder with half of a sphere, a hemisphere, shoved on top. The tank is modelled in the shape of a hollow cylinder, blah, 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 blah. The walls of the tank are assumed to have negligible thickness, so basically the volume inside the cylinder is just the volume of the cylinder. That's what they mean by that, or the volume of the shape, I should say. The cylinder has radius r meters, height h meters, cool. The volume of the tank is 6 cubic meters. So let's box that quickly. Show that according to the model, the surface area of the tank in meters squared is given by this expression. So what do they want us to do? Well, they want us to work out the surface area of the shape. I know, shocking, right? So, in terms of surface area, let's think about what we have. The first thing we have is half of a sphere. So a sphere has surface area 4 pi r squared, but we have half of that, so that's 2 pi r squared. Right, 4 pi r squared divided by 2. Hey Mohammed, how are you? So, that's it so far. And that covers the top part of this storage tank that we have. So what about the cylinder? The cylinder has 2 pieces. It's going to have a bottom surface, which is just a circle. It doesn't say anywhere that we don't include it. So that's going to be pi r squared. Right? The area of a circle. Then we have, and if we look in our answer, we actually have 2 terms here. Then we have the actual curved surface of a cylinder. Now, if you imagine a cylinder, I'm just looking around. Let's say if I have a piece of paper and I make it into a cylinder by curving it around. It's not curving very well, right? If I unwrap that, the curved surface is just a rectangle, okay? So, it's a rectangle. And what does this rectangle look like? What are its dimensions? Well, we have the height, which is h, and the base, which is the circumference of a circle, which is 2 pi r. Again, let me know if you have any questions about that. Again, if you want to submit any questions, go into the Discord, stream questions, or you can email me. If you're not sure about what that is, just let me know. So hopefully that's okay with the curved surface. So that means the area is 2 pi r h. So 2 pi r h. If I simplify this, we have 2 pi r squared plus pi r squared. That is 3 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Looking at my answer, the pi r squared, we have a pi r squared. But if you look at their answer for the surface area, remember this is surface area, does not have the letter h in it. Interesting, it doesn't have the letter h in it. So, what do? We need to eliminate h somehow. How do we eliminate it? Well, let's look at the only information they've given me other than the diagram, which is the volume of the tank is 6 cubic meters. So, this whole volume should equal 6. If I do that, I can rearrange for the height and do that. So let's work out the volume, right? So the volume, well, it's half of a sphere. So it's half of this shape over here. So that would be 4 over 6 pi r cubed. Then we have the volume of the cylinder. How do you work out the volume of a cylinder? Well, you take the area of the base, pi r squared, and you times it by its height. So you have pi r squared h. And all of this should equal 6. So, plus pi r squared h. Now all we need to do, and this is a bit long, this is a bit tedious, but all we need to do is rearrange for h. So I'm just trying to think of a good way to do this. There's no easy way, so we're just going to have to shove this stuff over to the other side. So we have 6 minus 4 over 6 pi r cubed equals pi r squared h. Then divide both sides by pi r squared. So that means that makes that 6 over pi r squared minus 4 over 6. The pi cancels out, the r cancels out, so 4 over 6 r equals h. And then we can shove this into our original expression. Sorry, not into that expression. Into the... Can I do this? Is this... okay, fine. What I meant by that is I meant you want to sub it into the original expression that we had. And we should find it will simplify to give us this. But let's have a look. So we have 3 pi r squared plus 2 pi r. And then h is this ugly thing here. We have 6 over pi r squared minus 4 over 6 r. Expand the brackets, we get 3 pi r squared plus, now this is going to be a bit interesting, 2 times 6 will give me 12. This pi and this pi will cancel, right? Pi times 1 over pi will give us nothing. R times 1 over that, so it's just 12 over r. Take a look at that. 12 over r is in our answer, and we've just got 12 over r. Pretty good. Then we keep going. 2 times 4 over 6 will just give us 8 over 6, which we will simplify. And then that's pi r squared. Yes, pi r squared. And depending on how lazy you are, let's make that 4 over 3 again. So 3 pi r squared plus 12 over r minus 4 over 3 pi r squared. Now, 3 is going to be 3 over 1, which is the same as 9 over 3. So we have 9 minus 4 over 3 pi. So first of all, we have the 12 over r, right? We're going to leave that as it is. Then we have 9 over 3 minus 4 over 3, which is going to give me 5 over 3. Pi r squared. And that is our surface area. Does anyone have any questions about that at all? So it's the same question most years, except they give you a different situation. It's really ugly. It's a hell of a lot of algebra, but it is possible. Thank you, ice cream. I think it's really harsh they only give you 4 marks. But I also get why they only give you 4 marks. You get a mark for an expression with the surface area, a mark for rearranging for h, a mark for substituting it, and then a mark for getting the final answer. Harsh, but that is the way it is. Now, here's what I want to point out to you guys. You do not need part A to do part B and C. And if we look at this, in total we have 4, 8, 10 marks. These 4 marks only make up 40% of the question. You can get 60% of the question without even doing part A. And part A is the difficult bit. B and C are not that bad. But then again, think about it. I said you get a mark for this thing. Maybe you could do that. So then now you've got 70% of the marks. You know, so you can kind of use that to get the majority of the marks, even if you don't know how to do part A properly. So use calculus to find the radius of the tank for which the surface area is a minimum. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to rewrite this in terms of indices. So we have 12 r to the minus 1 plus 5 over 3 pi r squared. Now, using calculus to find the minimum, whenever you hear the word minimum from now on, you should think differentiation. So we're going to differentiate this. So, in fact, let's just call it A instead of SA. So dA by dr is minus 12r to the minus 2. Bring the 2 forward, so now it's 10 over 3. Subtract 1 from the power, you get pi r. Now, when we have a minimum maximum point of inflection, the gradient, so this equation, should equal 0. I'm going to times everything through by r squared to try and eliminate the r to the minus 2. So we get negative 12 plus 10 over 3 pi r cubed equals 0. Move the 12 to the other side. 10 over 3 pi r cubed equals 12. Times by 3, we get 10 pi r cubed. I know that some of you might be able to do this a lot quicker, but I'm just taking it in small steps to make sure everyone's okay. Divide both sides by 10. That's also a valid point. Yeah, it says use calculus as well. The reason why I mentioned that is Sometimes they don't say use calculus, but yeah, you've got a valid point there. You could just say, well, it says use calculus. Anyways, so then r is going to equal the cube root of 3.6 over pi 3. So now I'm going to use my calculator because I'm not going to be able to do that in my head. Over shift pi. Let's call it 1.0. Does this give me a... Okay, it doesn't give me a number of sig fig to give it to, so 1.05 is going to be my preference, which is 3 significant figures. Any questions about that? If that's right. Again, if you want to, for those of you that have just joined, you're free to submit questions in the Discord on the stream questions tab, or you can email me, but let me know if you've emailed me, because in fact I'm going to open up my emails right now just in case someone has. Okay, perfect. Lastly, for part C, it then says calculate the minimum surface area of the tank, giving your answer to the nearest integer. So we've worked out the value of r, which gives us the minimum surface area. We haven't worked out the minimum surface area, so all you need to do is take that value of r and put it into the equation for surface area. A is equal to 12 r to the minus 1, so 1.05 to the minus 1. I will be using the answer button just to get a really accurate value. We actually don't have many lined up if you would like to find one. But if you guys just want me to explain a topic, that's okay. I hope those of you that are here did actually hear my message at the beginning that you guys really do need to start. Well, okay. I don't mean it in your against you, but exams are approaching. You may need to do some of the stuff yourself because schools might not finish it. So we have all of this 5 over 3 pi answer squared. 17.2, it says to the nearest integer, so 17, but you need to give a unit. This is all in meters and we're looking at surface area, so we've got meters squared. Okay, and that's it. By the way, just while I get some of the other questions up, I will be running these live streams every single Thursday at 6 p.m. guaranteed. So you can use this as like a free form of tuition. If you have any questions or any topics or whatever, submit them in the Discord ideally. If not, then of course you can email me. But the Discord is preferred. Hey Neil, how are you? So yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, we do have another question straight away. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I will be doing these every single week. Just use it as free tuition. Again, start doing the topics you haven't done in school by yourself. Start now. If you haven't started stats and mechanics, definitely start now. You can use the study planner, which is again on the channel. Just search study planner. It's completely free. Make a copy. Done. To plan out your time, because you have not got long left. You've got 4 months. Which, I mean, again, I say 4 months because I'm not including the month we have off in total. Bank holidays, all this other kind of stuff. Teachers might be sick. Who knows? Okay. So, okay. I don't know if Lewis Patel is in here. I might want to save that for a separate... I might have to talk you through that yourself. The reason is because it's not A-level. It's not just A-level maths. It's a bit more. It's not just that. So with the questions, try and keep them to like Edexcel A-level maths. But I will go through that with you if you need help on it. That's completely fine. But things like separations of variables and things like that, we don't need. It's not that it's too hard. It's just not in the spec for Edexcel Pure. That's the thing. Oh, okay. Ooh, okay, this is a pretty good one. Sent in by... So yeah, I won't do the one with separation of variables because it's not in most people's specs. But again, I'm more than happy to go through that with you. So here we have some... I mean, the straight away, as soon as I saw it, I saw this... Okay. Wait. Okay. Part C might be... You know what? Screw it. We're going to go through it anyway. A biologist is researching the growth of a certain species of hamster. She proposes that the length is given by this expression, which is an exponential equation. So it seems it will exponentially decay off. That makes complete sense. Use this model to find the length of the hamster when it's born. So this, by the way, is a really, really typical question. They will give you an exponential logarithmic equation, and they'll give you these kind of step equations here. So when it's born, well, think about it. This is t days after its birth. So we're just looking at t equals 0. Now, when t equals 0, you can sub this into your calculator, but have a think. E to the power of 0 will equal 1. So the answer is just 15 minus 12, which is 3 centimeters. Okay? If you want, shove it in your calculator and check. But anything to the power of 0 is 1, so this is just asking, what's 15 take away 12? Okay. Then it says, find the length of a hamster after 14 days, giving you answer to 3 sig fig. Well, all you're going to do here is sub in t equals 14. So far, 3 marks just for substitution. Not too bad. And literally, when I substitute, I'm literally writing the exact thing they've written. Some students do, believe it or not, get it wrong because they don't write exactly as it is. T over 14, t is 14 as well. So we get 10.585 blah, blah, blah. 3 SF will be 10.6 centimeters. To 3 SF. Okay. I like these part B's. Okay. So, the next set of questions, the next set of questions that come up. So the first one is always substituting something. The next one is always, you're going to rearrange it with logarithms. Okay? Always. And if you notice, part B, part 1 and 2, they're basically the same question. So, can they give it harder? So, this is a typical question. So this is the normal difficulty. But 10% of your marks have to be unseen. What does unseen mean? It means that they put you in a situation you haven't seen before. So it can be harder. But it doesn't mean it will be. I hope that answers your question. So what they're asking me to do here? Well, they're saying x equals 10, right? That's what this is saying. Find t. So, okay, let's do that. 10 equals 15, subtract 12, e to the minus t over 14. Now, what I see some students doing is doing the logarithm straight away. Do not do this. It is the worst mistake you'll ever make. First, you want to make it so there's only e on one side and there's only numbers on the other. Okay? Because if you take the logs of this whole thing, it becomes extremely complicated. It doesn't become ln 15 minus 12. It doesn't become that. So be really, really careful. What you want to do is minus 15 from both sides. So we get negative 5 equals negative 12 e to the minus t over 14. Divide both sides by negative 12. We get 5 over 12 equals e to the minus t over 14. Now we can do the logarithms because there's going to be no addition or subtraction signs. Generally speaking, if you take a log of something with an add or subtract, you can't simplify it, which is a problem because our answer has no adds or subtracts. So, how do we want to do this? Well, let's take the logarithm. Whoa, what's happening here? If you ln both sides, I'm going to write this fully, just so people are aware, but essentially, this is going to become minus t over 14. Let me show you why. ln e to the minus t over 14. Remember the power rule, where if you have logarithm of something with a power, you can take the power and shove it to the front. So we have ln 5 over 12 equals minus t over 14 ln e. If you do ln e on your calculator, this is the same as doing something like log to the base 10 of 10. You're asking, what power of 10 gives me 10 as my answer? Well, the answer is always 1. If you have log of the same base of something, it's always equal to 1. Because think about what you're asking. You're asking the calculator, 10 to the power of what gives me 10? 1. ln is just log to the base e. So we have log to the base e of e, which equals 1. If you don't believe me, put it on your calculator. So we have ln 5 over 12 equals negative t over 14. I am taking this nice and slow, I do admit. Then I want to times both sides by minus 14. We get t is equal to minus 14 ln 5 over 12. Does this satisfy the equation? Well, it says here that it equals positive 14 a over b. Why is ln known as a natural log? The reason, okay, this might get a bit advanced. What is natural about e? I was literally about to answer that. Perfect. So, it all has to do with where e comes from. E as a number is 2.718 blah 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 blah. It is a very, very special number because it is found naturally all over the place. It is found in nature everywhere. If you look at how population increases, E comes up. If you look at radioactive decay, E comes up. If you look at anything that is an exponential naturally, so a power law, it always follows an exponential law. Well, not always, most of the time. If you look at, for example, the profits of something, so the global economy follows an exponential law. Everything does. That's why it's natural. It's really, really interesting. It's similar to the golden ratio. It's similar to pi. It shows up everywhere naturally. So exponentials can also be like 2 to the power of x. We just find that e to the power of x appears everywhere. Everywhere. So if any of you do physics, you'll find it in radioactive decay. You'll find it in terms of intensity decay, electron decay, etc. If you do anything to do with like geography or population or something, population follows an exponential. Really interesting. And of course we have here the lengths of a hamster. So, interesting. So, anyways, back to this. The answer does not have a negative. You see that? There is no negative sign here. So I would not get 3 marks for this. So what do? Use the power law. T is equal to 14 ln 5 over 12 to the minus 1. And what happens when you take something to the minus 1? You flip it. So our actual answer is 14 ln 12 over 5. Because remember, to have negative 1 means you take the reciprocal. Cool. So that's part I done. Part 2, you just need to sub this on your calculator. It says find the time to the nearest day. So I'm just going to put it in my calculator and we're all done. Also, all of these rules you can check on a calculator, right? Like if you're not sure if minus 14 ln 5 over 12 is equal to this, put them both on the calculator, you get the same number. Put all 3 on the calculator, you get the same number. ln about 12 over 5. 12.256 blah blah blah. To the nearest day, that would be 12 days. So you get 4 marks for that question. Cool. This bit is technically year 13 maths. I don't mind doing it, but it is year 13 maths. So I'm going to leave it up to you. Although, to be fair, you could do this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that one. You want me to do it? Oh, fine. Fine. Okay, fine. So, it's year 13 because you need to differentiate an exponential. Okay? So, I'm going to write down the equation one more time just because I can't be bothered to keep going up and down. We have x is equal to 15 minus 12 e to the minus t over 14. Wow. Okay. My memory is better than I thought. We need to differentiate this, right? That's what it's asking me to do. Well, the first term should hopefully be easy enough. 0. But how do you differentiate an exponential? Let me show you. Exponentials have a really interesting property. When I differentiate them, nothing happens. However, if it's something like 2x, when I differentiate it, you get 2e to the 2x. The exponential doesn't change when you differentiate, because the gradient of an exponential is itself an exponential, and the gradient of an exponential is an exponential, and so on. This is year 13. This is year 2. Good. Fair play. Your teacher may have just showed you it then. That's okay. Here's the general equation. If you have y is equal to e, why doesn't the power go down by 1? Because it's an exponential. So, by the way, this is year 13. This will not come up in year 12. This will not come up. Guaranteed 100%, no doubt. It will not come up in year 12. This is not integration by parts now. I'll go back up to the question. We have this, and we're trying to get to this. So, okay, again, this is a year 13 question, just this part C. Everything else was year 12. But yeah, in general, y equals f of x, then dy by dx is equal to the differential of f of x, e to the f of x again. So, in this case, what we're going to do is I'm going to write this out fully. We're going to have minus 12 times, differentiate that, we get minus 1 over 14, right? If I differentiate just what's inside the power, then we have the exact same thing again. So simplifying that, we're going to have 12 over 14. GCSE Physics Paper 2 mock. Any tips? You can memorize a lot of mark scheme answers for physics, just generally speaking. So I'd make sure I know all the 6 marker questions that can come up. Okay. Let's simplify this. Let's divide it by 4. We get, not 4, what am I talking about? Sorry. 6 over 7. E to minus t over 14. So, if I now look at the answer, it's written, this is what's written. And what's the best way for me to... Okay, I'm just going to write the answer quickly. I'm not saying that is like, that we're done. 1 over 14, 15 minus x. This is where this question gets really tricky. Because if you look in the answer, they have the original function. The original function is in the answer. And the reason why they've done that is... okay. I don't like this. I don't like it at all. Can you see... There is a lot of maths here. Okay, how do I want to put this? Again, I'm just being really careful of how I word this because it's going to be a bit tricky for some of you. Okay. If you look up here, 15 minus x, right? 15 minus x is just the original equation without the 15. Yeah? So if I write 15 minus x, like this, those 15s will cancel, and we're left with 12 e to minus t over 14. Yeah? So, all they've done is they've factorized out the 1 over 14. And because 15 minus x is the same as writing this, that's where they've got the 15 minus x from. Okay? So again, 15 minus x, when I wrote that... Oh god, I should have written this a bit more clearly. it's 15 minus the original, which gives me the 12e to the minus 2 over 14, which is what I had in my differentiation. I hope that makes sense. In terms of finding the rate, all you need to do is sub in t equals 8 into this equation. Okay. That was quite hefty. Again, if you have any other questions... Oh, there is another one. Didn't I do this one in a YouTube video? Okay, I've done this question before. Slightly annoying. This one is definitely year 12. This is just pure year 12. This question... Okay. This question's long. I actually did this in my tuition class with A-level math students. It's long, it's tedious, but it's 10 marks, and that's why. So, let's get to it. The figure 4 shows a sketch of the part of the curve, so this curve, with this equation. Cool, and we also have a normal line here. And we have a region, cool. We want to work out the area of this grey area, yeah? Now, how would you do this? Now, what I always do is I think about like what I need. So I'm looking at this shape here, this initial part, this first bit here, and I'm thinking I'm going to need to integrate the curve between these 2 points. And point P 4, 6, we actually already know what the x-coordinate is there. So I need to integrate between 2 and 4, this curve. The next thing I would do is I would work out the area of this triangle. Now, how can I do that? Well, what I need to do is work out the x-intercept. So at the moment, I'm not even working anything out. I'm literally just figuring out what I need. So far, I have everything I need to work out the area of this beginning curve part. But to work out the area of this triangle, I need to have the base. So I need to work out where this line cuts the x-axis. So, what do I do? Well, the only way to find that is to work out the equation of the line L. Fantastic. And how can I work out the equation of the line L? Well, it's y equals mx plus c. I need 2 things. I need the gradient and I need a coordinate. I already have a coordinate. It's 4, 6. God. So how do I work out the gradient? Well, it's a normal. So again, I'm using all the information in the question. What does that mean? It means that the gradient of the curve will be the negative reciprocal of the gradient of the line. So I need to differentiate this, not equal it to 0, find the gradient, and so on. So let's get to it. So y is equal to 32 x to the minus 2 plus 3x minus 8. Differential of this is negative 64 x to the minus 3 plus 3. We want the gradient at the point P because that's where the lines intersect, the curves intersect. So that's at x equals 4. So x equals 4, dy by dx equals, well, all we need to do is sub in to our calculators, minus 64, minus 64, 4 to the minus 3 plus 3. 2. That's nice and easy. Which means the gradient is the negative reciprocal of this. So again, we come back to our y equals mx plus c. The gradient is the negative reciprocal, and the coordinate we have is 4, 6. So y is equal to negative a half x plus c. At x equals 4, y is equal to 6. So we have 6 is equal to negative a half 4 plus c. 6 is equal to minus 2 plus c. So c is equal to 8. So finally, our equation for the line is minus a half x plus 8. And what we want to do is work out what the x coordinate is when it intersects the x-axis, that's when y is equal to 0. So 0 equals negative a half x plus 8. Move that over, a half x equals 8, so x is equal to 16. Finally, we have everything we need to work out the area of this bloody shaded region. I'm going to take a pause there. Does anyone have any questions about that first part there? So just want to get a drink. It's thirsty work. With A-level maths, it's really important to understand why I did what I did and look at my thought process, okay? I started with, okay, assume I know the answer, how would I get there? I need these coordinates, okay? It's difficult to know what to do just by reading this mass of text. It's really hard to know what to do. So instead, label some stuff up, okay? Think of the thought process. That's the most important part of A-level maths, the thought process. Okay, moving on. Let's actually work out the area, R. So R is going to equal 2 bits. First is, we're going to integrate the curve, which is this equation, 32x to the minus 2. Plus, I want to say 2x. Was it 2x? No, 3x minus 8. 3x minus 8. And what are we integrating between? We're integrating between 2 and 4. Then we're going to add the area of a triangle, which is a half base times height. What is the base? Well, it goes from 4 to 16. That's a difference of 12, so the base is 12. And what about the height? Well, the height is the y-coordinate, which is 6. Now, I want to quickly draw your attention to this. Solutions based entirely on graphical or numerical methods are not acceptable. So this can also say solutions based entirely on calculators are not acceptable. Now, I'm going to use my calculator. Why? Because most of this question had nothing to do with the calculator. Now, if you had that fancy calculator that could do the whole thing in one go, you would get 0. Especially because it says show that the area, right? You're not showing that if you're doing it on a calculator. So, we can use a calculator for this part. So I'm going to do that. So we have that, enter in my expression, 32x to the power of minus 2 plus 3x minus 8. We go in between 2 and 4. We get 10 as our answer. So 10 plus half times 12 times 6 is going to be 36. So R is equal to 46 as stated there. 10 marks. I am starving now. Oh God, my voice. Any questions about that at all? Perfect. Okay, I'm getting kind of hungry, I'm not going to lie. So, okay. I'm going to just quickly mark off the ones that I've just done. So I did Mr. Sandals, your one, and I've done Luis. Cool. Mr. Sandals again. Okay, I just happened to open up this one first. Let's do this one. Boom. So, the curve with equation px squared minus 4px minus 5p, where p is a constant, and, does not intersect with the line with the equation y equals 2x minus 12, show that this. This is actually a really common question that people ask me. So, it's telling you it does not intersect. Now, how do you work out the intersections? Well, what you do is you equate the two expressions, right? So let's do that first. We have 2x minus 12 equals px squared minus 4px minus 5p. And if we wanted to try and solve this, we'd need to move everything to one side. So let's move everything to the right-hand side. So we have px squared minus 4px minus 5p, and then we have minus 2x plus 12. Now, and that equals 0. Now this should have no solutions, right? Because it says it doesn't intersect. So I shouldn't be able to solve this equation. The other hint is that there is an inequality in the answer, because we're going to be using the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. This has an inequality in it, and we want no solutions. So if you remember, if this is bigger than 0, there are 2 solutions. If it equals 0, there is 1 solution. If it is less than 0, there are no solutions. Now, what are b, a, and c in this case? And this is where some algebra is quite helpful. I'm going to explain it in 2 ways. One way is b is the numbers in front of x. Now, if you notice, there are 2 x's. So you would need to include all of the stuff in front of x. So the minus 4p and the minus 2. So why do you have to equate it if the line does not intersect with the curve? That's a really good question. So, because the question is, because they give us the information that it does not intersect with the equation, what they're telling us is that when we equate these 2 things, it should be impossible to solve. So why did I equate them? Because there's nothing else I could have done. I can't figure out what p is without having an equation. So these 2 not intersecting, that's the only bit of information I have. So I'm going to equate them, and I'm going to use the discriminant to show that it's impossible, because it is impossible. Okay. So this is one way to do it. So minus 4, the thing in front of x squared is p, and everything else is minus 5p plus 12. And that's less than 0. I personally prefer the way of factorizing, where you factorize out the x and then you have everything else left over. But if that makes sense, I'm happy to just continue. But you can factorize it. So you would have something like px squared. Then you would have, how do I want to write this? Plus minus 4p minus 2x. So then you can kind of see a bit more easily what you're dealing with. So we can see that that's b and we can see that that's c. But either way is fine. From here, all you're doing is expanding and simplifying, and you should get the right answer. So minus 4p squared is going to give me 16p squared. Actually, okay. Then we're going to have plus 8p, because we have minus 4 times minus 2. Then we're going to have plus 4. I'm going to do this in 2 steps because I don't want to be too arrogant. Okay. Squared. Yeah, that should be fine. 20p squared. Okay, yeah, that should be okay. So 16p squared plus 8p plus 4. Minus 4 times minus 5p squared is plus 20p squared. Minus 4 times 12p is 4. Whoa, it's minus 48p. Now you might, again, simplify, so 36p squared. 8p minus, so that'd be minus 40p. Yes. Plus 4 less than 0. But Mitchell, I hear you say, that isn't the answer, because the answer says 9p squared, 8p, and 1. Well, if you notice, we can divide through by 4 and actually get that as our value, because this divided by 4 is 9p squared minus 10p plus 1 less than 0. And in the next part, it does say to just, what's the word? What am I thinking of? Not simplify. Solve it. Jesus Christ. Just solve the equation, which is just a quadratic inequality. Okay? Okay. So, what I'll do is I'll call it there. And what we'll do is, Okay. What I'll do is I'll call it there. And again, if you guys have any other questions throughout the week, do submit them. And we will go through them again every Thursday, 6 p.m. for about an hour, roughly, depending on how hungry I get. But yeah, make sure you do kind of share this around, submit as many questions as you want. Use it as free tutoring, so ask questions. You guys were very interactive today, which is really good. Ask questions. I'm not going to get annoyed. That's the whole point. If you're teaching people and they have no questions at all, that means they don't understand anything. In fact, they understand so little that they don't even know what they don't know. And that's a problem. So, feel free to ask questions, okay? Other than that, I will leave you to it. Have a wonderful evening, have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week.